to the basic tutorials for Roll20. Episode 2, creating character sheets with macros. And these are player character sheets to be exact. And leading directly on from the last episode, Bill, who I will be for the moment, is now going to create his character. So you have told Bill he needs to go on, he needs to click on the sheet. If Bill gets stuck, you can go on the same time as him, ask him to load his character sheet, ask him to click there, and then anything, these are live, so anything you press also happens on Bill's computer. So click the cog, move down, say, Bill, you're about to create your character, launch level 1 character Mancer, and you and Bill will see the screen. At this point, you can log out and start doing that, well, not log out, but close this down, hit that, bring up one of the other character sheets and start helping another character navigate to the character Mancer. But we're going to be Bill. So let's all be like Bill and make a cool ass character. Let's have a look then. So the character Mancer creates a character for you. You know, obviously you choose things. It just populates things. So Bill is going to be, and you can see we've got all the options from the player's handbook. If you haven't purchased any of the extra content from Roll20, not all of the options will be here. And I'll point those out as they appear. So Bill is going to make a dwarf. He wants to be a dwarf cleric. So he clicks dwarf and it tells him there he's going to get a constitution 2. He's going to be a cleric. So he's going to go for neutral good. He's decided that's the sort of cleric he wants to be. He gets a bonus tools proficiency. So he's going to be a smith's tools. And we're just going to go through now. And you can read all this if you want to. It's all in the player's handbook, which you might not have. It's going to be a mountain dwarf. Why not, eh? That's going to give him strength +2 and light and medium armor. All right then. So we click next, and now we have to choose a class. And you can see at the top here, it's already put in our +2 on strength and con. So he wants to be a cleric, does Bill? A dwarf cleric. And I'm just going to go in here and quickly choose things. After doing the first couple of pages, you'll see how sort of easy this is. I'm just going to make it typical cleric here. Divine Domain. So I've got the Xanathar's Guide to everything. So I've got the extras in here. But I'm not going to do that today. I'm going to pick life. And we get heavy armor. Oops. Heavy armor. He gets this, so you can do this. Yep, brilliant. And if your player runs through this quickly and doesn't keep track of that, don't worry, it gets added in automatically. Ability score method, so you can use a standard array, which you may have seen, it's in the player's handbook, where you get an 8, a 10, a 12, a 13, a 14, and a 15, and you have to allocate them to stats as you choose. You can roll for stats. It only has it is the kind of standard anyway, but it only has the 4d6 drop lowest. Click that. It's going to roll all the dice in one go for you, and here's the option. So in this case, we've got an 8, a 9, a 10, 13, 13, 15. If you decide you don't want to use that, you can use points by, or if you want to use custom, maybe you're going to use a character that you've already got and you're just bringing it onto this, then you can just type in a standard. In this case, I'm going to use standard array, and I'm just really quickly going to typical dwarven cleric. You don't need no charisma. Where's he going to dump? Where's he going to dump? He's going to go, yeah, why not here? Okay. And you can see now it's populated all these at the top, including the modifiers. Next, we get to choose a background. This is where you won't have many if you're only using the basics that come with it. So you might not have many, but we're going to be an acolyte anyway, which you probably will have. It's got insight and religion. Now, I chose insight and religion as a class ability, but don't worry about that. So let's see, he's going to speak Gnomish, and I'm going to give him something a little bit exotic, which will give him undercommon. He can speak undercommon as well. He's also got his trait, and then there's your personality traits. If you are particularly bothered about these, you can read through or you can roll through. I'm not going to do either. Click next. How would you like to choose your equipment? Would you like cold hard clash, or would you like the class equipment? I'm going to show you the class equipment. So he's going to have a warhammer. He's going to have chainmail. He can use chainmail. I think he wants a crossbow. You know, he has got his ranged magic, but let's give him that. A prayer book or a prayer wheel. I'm going to give him a book. He's going to be a book type. Okay, and then the last one. Oh, not the last one, but the last. Yeah, it really is. The last one is for spells. So this guy's a cleric, life domain, so he's got to pick some cantrips. Which ones does he want? Let's give him guidance, mending, and sacred flame, because he's a cleric. Well, a cleric without sacred flame is you know, poo. Inflict wounds, because it's awesome. Spiritual weapon. Spiritual weapon, is that level 2? Oh well. Shield of faith, and let's give him some healing. Okay. Click next, texture to the feats, and as it mentions, you haven't really done that much yet because you're brand new. In your bio, Bill can now rename his character whatever he's going to call him. And we are going to call this particular character Grum. I'm going to call him Grum. That sounds quite dwarvish. And let's see, how old should we make him? 134. And we can go through with the other various things that we don't need to do right now. So, on the actual final, is the review. I remember I said that I picked religion and insight, but it didn't really matter. That's because it shows you here. Always have a quick look through here. If it's in red, you've missed something, you need to do something. So, your class is cleric. You've already chosen the skill religion, but you have it from your background. So, click class. It's going to go back and it knows what we picked. So, I'm going to change it. And this time, I'm going to have history and medicine. And then I click up here, back on review. And we can see what we got. Background, I know I didn't pick these. I'm not bothered. It's fine. I normally would. And then we'll click OK, and it's going to build our character. Takes a few minutes. Nah, a few seconds. And Kaflumph, Grum is now created. Next thing we need to do is create a token for Grum. So, close that for the moment. Click to get rid of those. To create a token, we need to go to one other website. The first one that we're going to go to is rolladvantage.com/token stamp. This is where I make almost all of my tokens, and it's really, really easy. I'll just talk you through it really quickly. Let's start with the border. What do we want our border to look like? I'm quite fond of this particular one. And what colour do we want that to be? I think in this game I would make all a single colour. And I think I'm going to go for quite a light red, a moody red. There we go. We've got our moody red. Background, it probably won't matter, but I'm going to put it to white. Now we need to find an image of what Grum looks like. So I'm just going to go to Google. I'm going to put 5e so it knows what I'm talking about. And then I'm going to go dwarf, cleric. That's it. Into images, see what we've got. We've all seen this one before. This one's belongs to D&D Beyond, this one. Check out D&D Beyond, guys. Why not? Sam loves it. You load it to this part, so click on the one that you want, drag, take it there, and drop it. And it's going to stick it in there. Decide how you want to. I recommend you decide a theme. Is that the right word? Theme, format, alignment. I don't know, of how you want your tokens to look. Do you want them to be the full body like this one? I personally prefer to just have the face. So I'm going to expand that until it's just his face. and then I'm going to download it, and I will go showing folder, so there's nothing in there. Oh, there's an elf there, and this is Grum. I've double clicked that, haven't I? Grum's now on our computer. Okay, back to Roll20. I'm going to click Grum. I'm going to click on Edit. We're going to click on here to choose a file. I'm going to our downloads. There's Grum, open. Give it a moment. There's Grum. And I'm now going to click remove on that one. I'm going to drag from the right hand side onto here. Why did it not remove this? Yes, I really want to delete it. Let's try that again. Drag from the right hand side, and it's got this one here. Now in the last episode I told you that part of the template should be to include these, and then it occurred to me that I do that with monsters, not players. I have only created the player templates once for each player, so we'll do that again. So we'll put HP in, automatically populates HP, and you can see the bar has appeared above, which shows us HP. We're going to put AC in, and the AC will then be populated 18. You notice it doesn't give a total, and that's because at the moment that's not how AC works in 5e. You can increase and decrease it, but it's generally measured as one figure. And finally, we're going to go to HP and scroll down a little bit. HP temp. He doesn't have any temporary HP at the moment. Now, I would say at the player's discretion, click show nameplate, and then it will show the name. Click onto the advanced tag, and now click name. Click that, and all the players can see the name. Do we want to see bar 3, which is the temporary HP? I do, so I click that. Now for the right hand side. So this is really more to do with dynamic lighting, and I will go into more detail about that later in a different episode. In this one, I'm just going to tell you what to do, and that is, does the character have dark vision? It's a dwarf. Yes, it does. It has dark vision of 60 feet. 30 feet of that is dim, and that will become apparent later. Then click has sight. I set it to 60 for atmospheric reasons, and then click save. And we'll go into detail about that later, about dynamic lighting. Now we're going to click on again on here to use the selected, so because we've got this one selected. Again, this would now say Bill's name here. And what I would also do here is put Grum, the player's name. I would then put dwarf, cleric. So these tags will all become apparent later. And finally, player. And then I'm going to save that. So what do other players see when they click on Grum's character? So when somebody that is not Bill clicks on there, that's what they see. They don't see this option. They don't see this option. GM, naturally, for the GM alone. If the player has a really cool backstory that they want laid bare for everyone to see, they can click on Edit, scroll down to Bio, and in here they can type whatever they want. I'm going to put Grum is a cleric of Moradin, the dwarven god of creation. Click OK, and you see Grum is cleric of Moradin. There we go, brilliant. Okay, so we have Grum. Every time we drag Grum out now, that's what we're going to see. Every time we put that character on the board, it is pre-populated with the HP, the AC, the name, and the image. What about his attacks and abilities? So right now, if you want to attack with Grum, Bill has to select his character sheet. He has to find the attack that he wants. He has Cure Wounds, Sacred Flame, Inflict Wounds, etc., etc. These are all here laid bare. He wants to use these. Let's use his Warhammer. Close that down. He rolled a 16. Well, that's good. And that probably hit, you know, most things. So now he could click on the character, on the chat, sorry, where it says Warhammer to do the damage. Not terrible. Not terrible at all. 5 points of bludgeoning damage for Grum. It's a little bit involved. There is a quicker way though. So we click on Grum and we decide which abilities do we want that we can use with a single click. Well, Grum doesn't use a shield, so he's almost always going to use his Warhammer two-handed. Right, I'm going to click Warhammer. And then close that down. Go into the chat. If you scroll down, he rolled a 2 this time. Click into the chat and press up. All of this, a long time ago when I first started playing, I learned how to write like that. How to reference the character sheet, and then accidentally one day I realized you can press up and it just brings it all for you. So select it, copy or cut, select Grum. Now click on abilities and attributes, and on this side, abilities, click add, and we get this right here on the pencil, and we're going to change this to Warhammer, just Warhammer, and we're going to paste in there all of that macro. This is what we're building here. We're building a macro. All of that macro code, which for the sake of what is it, let's go through it. So first of all, it's saying it's a repeating attack from the character with the that identifier. And it's saying the attack damage can also be found there. Then it's using a template to put it into the chat. So it's using the 40k. It's using the D&D template. So it needs an R name, Warhammer, two-handed. It then needs, is it a repeating attack? It is. If it does a crit, what's the crit damage? Etc, etc. So it's building, and then it's Grum is his name. He's, in this case, going to roll a d20 and add 2, his strength modifier, plus 2, his proficiency. And all of this we can just get from copying and pasting. And then we're going to click the tick. We're going to click show as token action. Okay, close that down. Now when we select Grum, up here in the corner we've got the token action. And I will just get rid of that and click the token action, Warhammer. And for some reason it didn't work. Okay, I clearly did something wrong here. Let's figure out what it was. Character sheet, Warhammer two-handed. Go into there, press up. Ah, I know exactly what I forgot. When you paste, rookie mistake here. When you paste, right click and paste as plain text. Everything else is fine, it's the same. Scroll back down here and Warhammer. Now it'll work. The reason being is that when you don't paste it as plain text, there is somewhere along here, there is a symbol that, because of weird old HTML stuff, didn't show properly. But it's okay. Paste as plain text, it works. All right, let's add a few extra bits to Grum. Grum is a cleric, so at some point he's going to use some spells. The Roll20 character sheet has suggested that Cure Wounds might be one that we use. Now, when we click Cure Wounds from here, it asks for a level. He's only got one first level at the moment. But we're going to go down. Same again, click in the character sheet, press up, press Control and A, Control and X to copy, go back to Grum's character, attributes and abilities, add pencil, and this is cure wounds. You notice instead of a space it puts a hyphen in. That's not a problem. Paste as plain text. And click the tick, show as token action. Okay. There we go. Now when we click, it can use cure wounds. And again, we'll click it. It'll ask us what level we want to cast it at. Submit. And there you go. There's your healing wounds, cure wounds. That can be done for any and every ability on your character sheet. What I would recommend is that the DM go through and do this, mostly because this tab, I believe, doesn't actually show in the Roll20 player place. Sorry, one of my dogs is snoring and I can't figure out which one it is. Yeah, so you can, and I do, tend to go through when a character has, a player, has created a new character, I go through and I add in all of their weapon attacks and the magic abilities that they ask for. You know, I tell them, look, I'm creating macros, which ones do you want? And they'll tell me. Okay, almost finished with this episode. Two more things I just want to point out. The first is when you create a character using the Character Mancer, it fills all of this information for you. These are good. Let's just look at speed as a really simple, basic one. We know that the speed up here is 25, but somebody might say to us, hey, how come you can move so quickly, but you're wearing heavy armor? And your strength is only, okay, so it's 14 in this case, but point being, click over here, click on the speech bubble, and it pops in right there. You can say, that's why, because my speed is not, and you can do it for anything. You also have proficiency with many of these, and all of these are interactive and can be clicked. The only drawback is that I can see of using the Character Mancer is when it comes to multiclassing. When you multiclass, it's not clear always which ability comes from which class. And as you get further along the multiclass lines, there are things that, for example, a cleric who is, I think, level 5 or level 6, gets fresh abilities. The player level might be 6, and it sometimes adds in an ability because you was a cleric to begin with, and you've taken 1 level in cleric and 5 levels in, for example, wizard. It will add in at 6th level, your combined level is 6th level. It will add in the cleric ability and the wizard ability. So I'm going to say it's both player and DM's responsibility to go through and make sure it doesn't happen. It's only happened to me once, so you know, maybe it's okay. Tools, it never seems to put the attribute that you should use for tools on. At the moment, it's on query. I think the reason for that is because depending what you're using the tools for, a different ability might be used. So Smith's tools, maybe Bill says, right, Grum is going to try and smash up this suit of armor we've just seen. So you could select strength. Maybe you're going to say, Bill says Grum is going to try and repair the fighter's armor. Okay, well, in that case, maybe it's dexterity to use intricate tools to repatch the chain. So yeah, I personally think you should allocate each time you use it, but some people like to just put something on it, and you can do that by clicking the cog and then changing it. But at any point, you can go in again and change it. So for some reason, charisma. But yeah, let's say we change it again to query. The cog appears on most things when you hover above them. And that is so that you can edit it. ritual casting. Let's edit that. You can directly edit your attributes, your ability scores. You can also edit the player name directly. If you remember, I'd said in the last episode about advantage and disadvantage, you'll find that there. I'm the GM, so it doesn't actually appear, but you can also have a public or 2GM there. In the bio section, this I really encourage you to get your players to use this to keep track of what they've got, to make notes. I don't really use allies and organizations. It's more of a league thing anyway. But in here, you can again directly edit. So I encourage you to get your players to use that. The final tab here is spells, and all the spells appear. How many slots are remaining? So after a long rest, that gets bumped up. I haven't found a long rest and short rest button. I don't think there is one. You've got to do that manually. Unlike, for example, D&D Beyond, it does it automatically. So if you're listening to Roll20, that'd be cool. You know, be cooler if it did. But yeah, all of these are worked out automatically because of the option that we picked when we made the game. Also, it tells us our spellcasting ability, our spell save DC, and our spell attack bonus. Finally, in the cog, there's lots of things here, and at some point I will go into depth with them, but not in this video. It's just not necessary at the moment. What I will say is, after the character has been created, it may be a good idea to take that character, duplicate it, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. So, find Grum, duplicate him by going into Edit, Duplicate. Give it a moment. PC's slowing down because I'm recording my screen. Close it down, open that up. I'm going to go into it again, and I would take Bill off that list and all players off that list. Essentially, we have a backup now. So if something ever goes wrong, we've got a copy of Grum at first level, and in the player characters, I will add a subfolder of backups and stick him in there. That's just a little thing that I do because the player character Mancer, I think, is still in the stages of testing, and it's not perfect, and it can make things go weird. So when your characters eventually level up, direct them back to the cog, to the launch level plus character Mancer option, and really quickly we're just going to run through a level up for Grum so you can see how that works. So we'll click on next. Cleric, yep, we're going to put one level in Cleric. If we was multiclassing, we'd take that level out, add a multiclass in, and then we'd choose the option that we're going to do. We're not actually going to do that, so we'll leave that. So we'll minus that away, get rid of it. So it tells us, do we want to roll or take the average? Let's roll. Let's just be crazy. We go 1, poor Grum. Channel Divinity, Turn Undead, is also going to get subclass feature, which is Preserve Life. We click next. It tells us the details of Channel Divinity, Turn Undead, which all clerics get, and the Preserve Life, which is part of the life domain. Now it's going to tell us again, you can add some more spells. So you can add 4 new spells. Well, 2 of these spells are already selected. Healing Word and Inflict Wounds. We did that when we first created our character. This is where you need to have knowledge of your class, the player and the DM. Because you say you can add 4 new spells. Well, hang on a minute, I can only add 2. Well, that's because clerics don't add spells, they prepare spells. So clerics have immediate access to all of these, and each day they can change them. And when you level up, it gets a little confused because of the way that the character Mancer is made. So now you can prepare extra ones. Great, I've prepared some extra spells. Press next and you're aware. If you want to change them, and this is the last thing I'm going to show you, if you want to change those spells, Go into spells. You see this bullet point next to it? I personally tell clerics they should add everything and that is available to them. So add the entire list of first level spell slots, of first level spells, and then prepare using the character sheet anytime they want to prepare them. That's what that's for. Before the character mancer, that's what they were for. So at the moment, he can prepare 4. He always has, I think it's Healing Word and Bless always prepared because of his subclass is life domain. But yeah, so you can go through and add them. So let's quickly add a cleric spell. See if I can think of one off the top of my head. A level 1 cleric spell, Shield of Faith. So I'm going to go into the compendium, type Shield of, and wait for it to find Shield of Faith. If I click and drag and then drop into the compendium, Shield of Faith is going to pop down there. And then on the next day, the build's decided I'm going to get rid of Healing Word and I'm going to add Shield and Faith. Shield of Faith. It's that simple. So when we've added that in, it's not changed anything up here. Look, Healing Word is still there. But Bill can go to his spells and the DM can go and check and say, well, look, you can't use Healing Word because it's not ready. Simple as. In terms of using spells that don't have a shortcut here in your attacks and spell casting, you simply click them. So if we're going to cast Shield of Faith, and if we're going to our chat, it tells us what the spell does. So in this case, his AC is going to increase by 2, and he's going to have to concentrate on that. So what I do is I do it from here. So I click on there, and I increase that to 20. And he's concentrating on a spell. So I use this point here. I don't know what these are called, notes, widgets, whatever. And for the concentration, I use the lime, yellowy, greeny thing there. And then that pops in the corner. So I can instantly see he's concentrating on a spell. If he gets attacked or he has to make a roll or whatever, and that jumps out at me then. Okay. And that's all I'm going to do for this episode. So now we know how to create a game from episode 1. We know how to set it up so that it's going to work fantastically. We're going to have fully interactive character sheets. And next, I'm going to do a video on finding and uploading dungeon tiles so that we can make awesome dungeons to go with our awesome character sheets and character tokens. Bye.